Welcome again to Joe Stunner Boxing. Fabio Wardley has apparently signed with Frank Warren. And is this surprising? I suppose you could say it might be a little bit surprising because he's definitely someone, Wardley, that wanted to maintain his independence. That's the way he's always talked. He had close alignments with DAZN and Hearn, but did it on a fight-by-fight basis. Then he fought Fraser Clarke over on Sky with Boxer, Clarke being a Boxer fighter. But now he's nailed his colours to the mast with Warren. And this is a very good move for Frank Warren because Warren, when you think about it, when you think 10 years back, he looked like he was on his arse with the whole Box Nation thing, while Hearn with Sky was absolutely flying, and then he got his fingers in the DAZN pie, and then he left Sky and it was all DAZN and so on. But Frank looked like yesterday's chip paper. You know, he looked like someone who'd just been discarded. You rule this guy out at your peril. This bloke was he 72 now? And like Bob Arum and Don King, he goes on and on and on, survives bankruptcy, survives bad investments, survives all sorts of things throughout his career. Even if you're of the age I am, you will remember Frank Warren pretty much at the start. I'm not certain about this, but I think the first live boxing show I ever went to was an early Frank Warren card. I can't remember whether it was absolutely or not. Anyway, that's by the by. The point is that Wardley has signed with Warren, and this strengthens not just Warren's domestic stable, but in particular the heavyweight stable that he's got, because he signed Moses Atama. He's got Daniel Dubois, Tyson Fury, Zhilei Zhang is in the fold as well, and now he's got Wardley, very marketable, exciting fighter. There is a saying that so goes the heavyweight division, so goes boxing. You know, the heavyweight is the flagship division. And I have mixed opinions about that belief. I don't know what people are getting at. You know, you need a good heavyweight division because there's nothing like watching two big lumps knocking big lumps out of each other. It's the only division where you don't have to make weight. You can be as big as possible, and there is a lot of people. I remember Peter Fury as just one example saying that there is the heavyweight boxing and there's the rest of boxing. And I kind of know where they're going with that, although it's not necessarily my favourite division. I do like good heavyweight scrap, and if you sit ringside of heavyweight fights, it is a sight to behold when you've got these two gigantic men whacking each other. I understand there is the appeal of heavyweights. I do get it very much so. But it depends if you love boxing, if you're kind of a bit of a purist or a bit of a technical guy like I like to think I am. Watching the smaller guys, it can be just as entertaining, but for different reasons. But there's no doubt that when you compare Frank Warren's heavyweight roster with Eddie Hearn's, who has Eddie Hearn got? Now, I know he's got Joshua. Okay, fair enough. But Joshua, what is Joshua now? 34, 35? Apart from that, who else has he got? Johnny Fisher? No disrespect to Johnny Fisher. Entertaining enough fighter. But what's Johnny Fisher's ceiling? British level, maybe? No, European. Let's say European level. But the point is that when you hear Hearn talk about him, no, he's a viable world level prospect. No, he's not, Eddie. He hasn't shown anything that even approaches the potential to be a world-class heavyweight. Having said that, we shouldn't be too unkind, or we shouldn't jump the gun. I shouldn't jump the gun, because I can remember having serious doubts about Tyson Fury early on in his career, especially after that first John McDermott fight. I thought, this guy, he hasn't got discipline. He's just big. And it didn't surprise me at all when he ducked David Price, and Pricey ended up picking up the British and Commonwealth belts, which Fury had, but essentially gave them up. This didn't surprise me at all, because at the time I just didn't rate Fury. I didn't think he was going anywhere. I thought maybe he'll win a EBU title. If you told me he won every belt there is to win, I would never have believed you. So it is possible that Fisher could go, I'm not saying he's going to be undisputed heavyweight champ, he could go further than we expect. But when you look at, again, when you go back to Warren's roster. I mean, our Tauma, there's no such thing as a can't miss fighter. Trust me, I've followed boxing for enough decades to know that sometimes things can go wrong. But you would think Moses Atama would be someone who, can really only defeat himself, in the sense that if he loses the love of the game, doesn't live the life or whatever, then he can lose. But if he does live the life, if he does pick up the skills, pick up the experience and so on, he can really become, go very, very high. His potential ceiling is extremely high. And of course, Dubois, I would make AJ a favourite over Dubois, definitely. But it's not beyond the realms of possibility that he could knock out Joshua. And he's only 27, I think, 26, 27. I think he's 27. Okay, Zhilei Zhang's nearly 40, or he is 40. Has he turned 40? But still a player, still a big banger, Big Bang Zhang. He's got some people, Warren has, in that heavyweight division. And Fury, again, I would pick Usyk to win the rematch with Fury. But Fury is, even if he was to lose that rematch with Usyk, just as Joshua's proved, you can come back from back-to-back defeats from Usyk and still be a high-profile fighter. And Fury, because he is who he is, and he's got the lip and all the rest of it, and the image and the fame, he could come back from that. He could still be a player. So Warren, definitely, by adding Wardley to his heavyweight roster, I mean, this is a good signing for Warren. Because even if he just does the in-house fights, there are some attractive matchups there. You know what I mean? Of course, he might say to Eddie Hearn, now that they're best buds, all right, Wardley versus Johnny Fisher. I don't think Eddie would take that fight yet. Whether he'd take it further down the line or not, I don't know. But the point is, he's got a lot of sweets in the bag now, whereas Eddie hasn't really. So I think this is a good signing for Warren and old Frank, especially after he mullered Eddie 5-0 at the 5 versus 5. That must have hurt Eddie a lot. He's flying again after, a decade ago, seeming like he was down and out. They never write off Frank Warren. See, Frank Warren, unlike Eddie Hearn, Frank Warren comes from a staunch working class background. He probably knew a few faces in London who were not necessarily the most legal of people, if you know what I mean. And he worked on markets, and I think he learned how to be a wheeler and dealer. I think wasn't he doing fruit machines and pool tables with Barry Hearn. They were doing all that sort of stuff. And that was back in the day. That was quite a lucrative thing. You put in those fruit machines in pubs and clubs. That was a lucrative business, and there was actually a lot of naughtiness went on between various factions who wanted certain patches to install those machines in the pubs and clubs. This is going back to the 60s, way before Frank Warren. But yeah, I think the Cray twins and maybe the Richardsons were into that game as well. That was one of their games. But anyway, I mean, I'm digressing. Yeah, what do you think of this? What do you think of Wardley signing with Warren? And who do you think he should be facing? Who do you think he should be aiming for? I don't see Warren putting him in with Atama. Joe Joyce? I wouldn't put Wardley in with Joyce yet. I think they're talking about Atama versus Joyce. But let me know who you think Wardley should be matched with. It doesn't have to be in-house, but anyone on the world level, anyone. Obviously, he's got the rematch with Fraser Clarke. He's got to come through that, and that's not a foregone conclusion. But yeah, give me your comments below as usual. And please, if you're new to the channel, subscribe and hit the like button as well and spread the word about the channel. Let's build it up. Come on, everyone. It's your channel as much as mine. Let's build it up. If you weren't watching, what's the point of me doing the videos? I'll just be talking to myself, wouldn't I? But anyway, much love. I'll speak to you all soon, and bye for now.